Hey everyone, welcome back. So we're going live a little bit early, a couple minutes at least. I'm all set up and ready to go, so I figure I might as well go. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday today. What do we have today? We have Bitcoin going down in price, going down to 61,000 and bouncing off of that a little bit. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Bitfarms providing us with their update. They're still not past their, 11.2, 11.3, whatever it is, exahash. We'll talk about that. So they provided their update for September. Hut 8 also paid off some debt through basically shares. We'll talk about that. And then we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things. I did watch the vice presidential debate a little bit as well. My thoughts on it was actually pretty good. Both gentlemen were cordial. They were nice to each other. They did kind of poke at each other a little bit, but they were cordial and overall. I thought it was a great debate, actually. Makes me kind of think that these two guys were actually the running mates, or not running mates, but the running for president, actually, compared to what we have actually right now. But I thought it was great overall. I thought just seeing the cordiality there, the kindness in each one. Some of them, both guys have actually praised each other on different things, which I thought was great. And that's the way it should be. It should be about the topics, not about the individual people. I don't like it when we get too personal with accusing one side or the other side of things. It should be about the topics, right? That's what really people want to see on that side of things, I think. That's what I want to see, is what are you going to do for me? Not really what are you going to do for me, but what are you going to do for the economy? What are you going to do for jobs? What are you going to do for people that are struggling, things like that? That's what I want to see. I don't care about the negativity of individual people. But we'll get into that if you guys want to get into that in the Q&A side of things. But that's all I got right now. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of everything. You guys know the drill here. Not financial advice for him only. Do your own research. Full disclosure down below. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into Bitcoin, see how it did today along with the miners. And we'll get into everything else as well. So Bitcoin was down quite a bit today. Bitcoin actually came down 3.97%, almost 4% down on the day. And I talked about this yesterday, that if we close below here, right, if we don't go back up, we might be coming back down to 61,000 mark, which is what we happened. We actually went down a little bit further than that. We had a nice wick down to the 50-day simple moving average. And now in the new day for Wednesday now, we went up way kind of nicely above it. We went above our support line here at 61,000, plus we're above the 100 simple day moving average as well. That is great looking right now. So maybe this correction is maybe over. We'll see. The markets got spooked today as well, I think, because of what's happening with Israel and Iran, all that stuff. It's like, why do people need to go to war? I'm starting to almost think, as I get older, I'm thinking like religion is the root of all evil at times. It's just crazy to me that people just can't get along. We're on this little blue planet. We're all the same, regardless of the religion that we're in. We're all bleed red when you bleed, right? It's just crazy to me. I don't understand why people can't be, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe not accommodating, but basically tolerant of other people. It's just crazy to me. We all have this little life that we live, where we might live maybe 60, 70, 80, maybe some people live to 100 years old. But life is so just precious to me. I don't get it. I don't know if I'll ever understand that part of war and everything else, because of borders or whatever, not, or religion or anything else. It's just crazy to me. Why can't people just be happy with what they have in the countries that they live in and let things be? But that's just my side of things on this, how I kind of feel about it. You guys might feel a little bit differently. That's okay. But that's where we're at right now. So miners didn't have a great day either. Miners were down for the most part about where Bitcoin was down, somewhere a little bit less than that. Others were like 2-3x of what Bitcoin was down today. And if we look at the miners here, NE was only down 2 3/4 roughly. Argo was down 4.1. BitDigital was down 7.4. BitDeer down quite a bit, 11.3 here. Surprising on that one. So that one was almost like 3x of what Bitcoin was down. And Bitfarms was down 6.1. Cypher was down 7.4, or 7.5 roughly. Cleanspark was down 7.8, quite a bit there as well. CORZ was down just barely here. CORZ seems to be like doing the best here out of all these guys here when things, well, it was down lower during the day, but then it bounced back up here. But it's been doing pretty well, actually. And I think that's mainly because of the deal that they have with CoreWeave. Eventually, it's going to be generating a lot of revenue for them. So they're a little bit more insulated, it seems like, than some of the other miners. Digihost was the only one that was up today. It was up 1.75%. Had a pretty pretty wild candle here. It was down, it was up, it was all over the place here today, but it finished up in the green here a little bit. And then we had DMG being down almost 2%. Hive was down 5.4. Hut was down 5.75. IREN was down 8.4. Marathon was down 7%. Mawson was down 7.25. Riot was down 4.5. Sorry, and Stronghold was down 6.1. And Wolf was down almost 7.5. I guess you could say on that one. All right, so it wasn't a great day in the markets, but that's to be expected with Bitcoin going down in value. Anytime we see that, the miners will follow for the most part, unless things are really looking different. We've only seen that a couple of times here this year where Bitcoin was going down and the miners were actually going up in value. Okay, but the good thing here is on Bitcoin, it is looking pretty good here on the RSI. RSI came way down here on the daily to 46. Last time we were back here, we were over here in price at, what was that price at that time? Price was at 57,352. So we're way above that. So that is good. Nice little pullback. I think this is healthy still. We might see a nice run up here going forward, depending on what happens in the short term, I guess you'd say, with the wars and everything else that's going on. How will Israel respond to Iran and all that stuff? It's, like I said, to me, it's just crazy. All right, but that's it on the miners and Bitcoin here in general. Let's take a look at the stories that we do have here. And while we're looking at this, we can see that Bitcoin actually ended up September with 7.29% in the upside, so that was good. We're starting off October in a little bit of a green here with 3.61%, or in the red, sorry, 3.61% down on the month so far. I think as we get into October, things will pick up much better for us. And I would expect to see much better gains here going forward. All right, Hut 8. So Hut 8 announces early payoff of outstanding loans. They didn't really pay that off. They issued shares basically for this. So Anchorage Digital converted entire 38 million loan balance to common shares at a price of $16.39.5. Okay, where's Hut 8 right now? Hut 8 is at 11.50. How the heck did they do that? They got a nice premium on it. I don't know how that works out, how they're able to do that. If you guys know in the comments, let me know how that is possible to do that. That is a really good deal for them. But down here, we see it here. Anchorage Digital has converted the 38 million outstanding balance of the loan at a price of $16.39.5 per share of common stock of Hut 8 pursuant to a debt repayment agreement. The share price represents a 51% premium to the 20-day VWAP through September 26, the day prior to the signing of the debt repayment agreement. How is that possible? That's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that is possible to get that done, but that's a really good deal for them. And that's basically it. I mean, the good thing is they paid off the debt, but it's definitely they issued more shares than they probably needed to if they have paid it off regularly with the cash they have or Bitcoin that they have. But that was part of the deal, I guess, when they signed the loan agreements for it. So that is what we have here with it. It's here. Asher Gunit says, with a strengthened balance sheet and decreased leverage, we believe we are better positioned to advance discussions with prospective counterparties and execute on the development of our next generation mining and AI dinosaurs. Well, of course you would say that. But yeah, that is a really good deal for them. All right, so that's it on Hut 8. Let's get into Bitfarms here. So Bitfarms provides September 2024 production and operation update. I was hoping for a little bit of growth here with, well, at least some growth here with Bitfarms this September. But it looks like the mining machines that they are supposed to get swapped out with Bitmain, the T21s, it doesn't look like those have come in yet. So my concern there is with the, the ports being on strike right now. I'm hoping that the machines have been already past that point, because if they're not, that's going to possibly lag a little bit, right? With the ports being closed, that means I'm in Q&A. Why am I in Q&A? I should be in, there we go. That's where I should be in. With the ports being closed, like I said, I hope the miners are already past that point where they went through customs and everything else, and they're on their way to being shipped to Stronghold facilities, possibly. If not, we might be looking at maybe November before these things get plugged in. But we'll take a look at all the information that we do have here. So the HODL increased a little bit here as well to 1,147 BTC. And then Ben Gagnon, Chief Executive Officer of Bitfarms, stated, we are pleased to have reached our end-of-year efficiency goal of 21 watts per terahash 3 months ahead of schedule, allowing us to execute an increase in gross data center profitability. With current mining economics, we drove a 60% increase in energy efficiency in September by swapping out thousands of miners and implementing energy efficiency measures across our facilities. So that's good news there. That's actually pretty good. With the newer miners, I would expect there maybe, well, once the T21s and other things installed, they might actually go down in watts per terahash or joules per terahash, whichever way you want to look at it on that one. Okay, they talk about the September 13th announcement of the 10,000 Bitmain T21 miners being scheduled for Stronghold facilities. Let's see, Ginian concluded, we remain on track to achieve 21 exahash in the coming months and to double our operating capacity in 2025 with nearly 50% pro forma power capacity based in the U.S. We are pleased to have reached an agreement with Riot, which allows us to focus our full attention on executing our growth strategy and creating value for shareholders. Okay, so this is new here. This part with the 50% growth, not 50% growth, double operation with nearly, where was it? Double. Okay. So if they reach 21 exahash by the end of the year here, this year, which they remain on track to achieve that, that would mean that they're getting to 41 exahash. Previously, we heard that they were getting to 35 exahash. So that's good news. That's more hash rate growth here in the next year as well. So that's good. Okay. And then here are their metrics, their operational update. Total BTC earned was 217. It is down from August, which was 233. Month-end operating hash rate was 11.3, which is the same that they had in August. Average operating hash exahash was 10.3, so it looks like they were down a little bit more than the prior month, just a little bit. But it turned out to be a couple more days here, it looks like, on my sheet at least. What else do we have here? Oh, we got one other good news story here. The employment dispute with former CEO has been settled. We don't know what the settlement is. You know, originally he wanted like, I think, 27 million in compensation. Could they have settled it for, 20% of that or something like that? What would that be? That would be like around 5 million or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out when they do report the Q3 financial results. It might be included in there as well. So we'll try and see. I'll try to remember to take a look at that as well. But that is good news here, right? Depending on how much they paid. If they paid him the full 27 million, that's kind of crazy. But if they paid him a percentage of it, 20% I would think would be pretty fair. We'll see. All right, so that's it on that. Let's look at my spreadsheet here on Bitfarms. So Bitfarms currently has about 451 million shares outstanding. Stock price as of today was $1.98. Market cap 893 million as it is. Their performance over the last 12 weeks hasn't been great. It's been okay. The last 4 weeks have been much better here, right? They're up 25% from 4 weeks ago. Last week they were up 12.5%. Things are looking a little bit better there. Current hash rate, 11.3 exahash. Future hash rate, 21 exahash. Their current HODL, 1,147, valued at 69 million as of today, basically. On that one, Bitcoin mined here, you can see that their Bitcoin has been coming down, the amount they mined. And that is mainly because their hash rate has been kind of flat over the last 3 months. So they were at, in July, they were at 253. August was 233, and September was 217. And you can see the revenues have also been coming down here from 15.8, almost 16 million in July. August was almost 14 million. Now they're in September, they're at 13 million. And you can see the result of that as their hash rate has been kind of flat here, more or less. So we definitely need to see a lot more growth. And we will see a lot more growth, I believe, in, I don't know about October, but I'm guessing November, December will probably be pretty good months here to get things all installed, especially if the ports strike there gets resolved within the next, hopefully within the next week or two at the latest, but we'll see. Bitcoin HODL has continued to grow here for them, which is nice to see as well. Bitcoin sold, they only sold 173, so they sold a little bit more than they've been averaging here over the last 4 months on that one. BTC per exahash efficiency down to 19.2. Bitcoin sold value about 10.4 million instead of the 8.7 million prior. And going down here, we'll get into all these. Oh, institutions here. Institutions stayed the same amount. Number of institutions, shares went up just a little bit, like 2,000 more shares owned. It's still percentage owned 23.11%. We still have the 5 strong buy ratings, 1 buy rating, 1 hold rating. 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price targets stay the same here as of today on them. And then going down here, Bitcoin transaction fees accounted for about 4, you could say like 5% of the revenue here. For the month, I did run those numbers today as well. And then going down here and into September, I am mining for about 25.8 days on average here with everything that they have installed here. And BTC fees contributed to about 632,000 of that, got us to 13.009 million in revenue. Okay, so that all looks good. And going up here, where do I see them right now? I still see them being around $4 and $6.02 on the higher end side of things. They're at $1.98. Like I keep saying, I think they should be at least double from where they are right now, based on their hash rate growth, their current operations, things like that. Compared to their peers, they should be double from where they are. If we look at the September numbers for revenue, multiplying it times 12, I'm in between 348 and 522. Again, I would think they would be double from where they are right now on those things. So big thing for them is to get the T21s in place, get them installed, get them hashing, and get their hash rate closer to the 21 exahash by the end of the year, which looks like they're going to be able to reach that. It might be just a little bit delayed here. But we definitely need to have that happening in the next, 3 months, October, November, December, Q4 numbers. But yeah, that is it. Okay, so we'll get into you guys' Q&A side of things here. As always, the Patreon members have access to all my spreadsheets. Link for that is down in the description. It's $8 a month. Or if you can find a couple spots that are still open in the $4 or $5 range, you get access to all this stuff. Plus, you get access to our private Discord server as well on top of it. Okay, I've been going kind of fast here. Talking pretty fast here, so bear with me. Let's get into the Q&A side of things here, and we'll call it a day. See what you guys have to say. Okay, let me scroll back over to my screen here. What do we got here? Okay. I'm looking through the comments and questions. Okay, here we go. Question. Jack says, question, Riot owns around 19.9% of the Bitfarms shares. Yes. Is that right? With the pop in Bitfarms price, will Riot see appreciable move based on that alone? I don't know. That is a good question, right? So if Bitcoin goes up, let's just say 2x, 100%. Will they, I think they will be able to mark that on their financial results, but that's not going to be until Q4, maybe, I'm guessing, with Bitcoin going up here in the next quarter. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. Okay, what else we got here? LD Lawn Services says, disappointed with the lack of hash rate hash installed. I still added on this dip, shave 0.08 on my shares. Started right position today and added to a recent Mara position, BTC ATF, added to let's LFG. Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed too. But it's out of their control a little bit. I think the miners that they were supposed to get, the T21s, were bad. They sent those back. They're supposed to get replacements. Like I said, hopefully they went through the ports already. I'm hoping, at least. But we'll see. We'll find out in October, I guess. Or maybe they'll provide an update through October as well. Let's see, Brett says, hoping BTC did its thing at the performance metrics no longer matter for miners. They still matter, I believe. Let's see here. Andre says, hi, Seb. Bitfarms is undervalued, but I think with all the missteps, it should be expected. Do you think the overpromise and deliver is now permanently baked into the stock price? Well, it's not yet at the end of the year, right? They promised 21 exahash by the end of the year. Yes, they promised that they should be at like 12 exahash by the end of June, I think it was, right? But some things are out of your control, so I'm okay with that. But going forward, they need to get to 21 exahash. So you might be right. They might be a little bit baked in there because of that mishap there. Okay, what else do we have here? Let's see. Emik asks, any other miners came out with their updates? No, I just checked it before I went live, about 15 minutes or so. None of the other miners came out with their updates. We'll get probably a couple miners updating tomorrow. And then you continue to ask here, at what Cleanspark price will you start selling? Much higher from where it is right now. I'm going to start selling probably when Bitcoin gets to around 100,000. That's when I'm going to start selling the miners. 5% here, 5% there. I'm just going to continue to sell as things go up. I don't know where the top's going to be. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Would you change your price prediction on Bitfarms if BTC gets to 150,000, Bitfarms gets to 42x, double the exahash? At that point, yeah. I mean, if they can get to the 42 exahash, say by the end of the first half of 2025, that would be huge. At that point, I would think they would be above probably $20, depending on how much they dilute, though. That's the other big question there. Let's see. Seb, did you see the SEC filing for Cleanspark CO selling 1.7 million shares? I did not. No. Let's take a look at that. Let's see if we can find that, pull that up. SEC, was it for his shares that he got there and probably for tax reasons like they always do? Let's see, CLSK. Let me look this up. Let's see what we got here. September 30th proxy, ownership disclosures. Who do we have here? All right, let's go to the screen. So you guys are now looking at me. October 1st, statement of change. Okay, let's see who do we have here. Schultz Matthew. So I'm guessing they got probably at the end of the quarter shares. Let me see what it says here. Shares were withheld by issuer to cover payment of withholding taxes in connection with, yeah. So that's kind of what we're expecting there, or at least what I was thinking. So they haven't really sold. They sold the shares to cover the tax liabilities on it. And we probably have that also for, let's see, Gary V. Okay, the CFO there. Same thing, probably shares were withheld by issuer to cover the payment of withholding taxes. Okay, same thing. And then the last one probably will be Zachary Bradford. Yeah. Let's see. Shares were withheld by issuer in this form of reporting percentage sold. Okay. Okay. So same type of deal here. They're withholding shares or selling shares to pay the tax implications on it. And that's pretty common practice within the companies here, all these companies actually. So that's not too bad. It's not like they're actually selling a lot, but they got quite a bit of, let me see here. How many shares did he get here? If we can find an amount, 177,000 shares and 2.6 million. Okay. Let's see, amount of securities beneficiary owned following reported. So he still owns that many. So he sold, yeah, so he sold some to pay for the things. So he still got quite a bit here. All right. So that's it on that one. We covered that really quick. What else do we have here? See, HG Tech says, I'm hesitant to add more tomorrow. I'm wondering how much lower BTC might go in this move. I think we might be getting close to the bottom here for at least this current wave that we're in. Maybe. Right, if this doesn't hold, then I think we might be going down to like the 57,500 mark, potentially, which is our next support line here. Right now, we're above our resistance, or now it's support. Potentially, if we close above that, that's going to be support. If that doesn't hold, we might go down to 57,000. So you always want to keep a little bit of dry powder on the side in case things do go down. And then you can buy more at a much lower cost on these guys. I still think that October is going to be a great month for the miners, but right now we're starting off a little in the red here. We'll see how much lower in the red we go on that one. What are your thoughts on the conflict happening in the Middle East? Do you think it could be like a long-term effect, possibly suppressing BTC prices? I'm not happy with it, right? I said in the beginning of the video, I don't understand why these countries just can't get along. We're in this together. We're on this little blue pearl in space floating, all right? And like I said before, I think sometimes religion is the root of all evil because it's religion-based, and I just don't get it. So I wish people would just be more accepting of other people and their religions, you know, but I'm not in charge. I'm not the king. I can't do anything about it. As far as the war being concerned, I do think that we normally will see this kind of drop when the war starts, go a week or two out, and things will be improving in the stock market and Bitcoin in general. We saw the same thing with Ukraine and Russia as well, right? When that first happened, things dropped and then they rebounded again. So this is just a short-term kind of bump in the road, I guess you could say. Eventually things will return to going up, I believe. Roger says, huge ETF selling today. I did not see that, but you're probably right. I mean, Bitcoin was down, things, yeah. What is your new price target? Bitcoin is 2x. So if Bitcoin goes 2x, I would expect Bitcoin to be, or Bitfarms to be at least 3 to 5x of that, right? That's kind of what I would expect. Let's see, Brett A, 177,000 shares sold by, yeah, I talked about that. That's for not profit, taxes that he has to pay on it, right? So that's going to happen from time to time. You're going to see that, especially when they get shares. And they usually get the shares, like it seems like at the end of the quarters on it. So you're going to see that as well. Paras Steven says, feeling very bullish on Bitfarms now. Finally feel like the runway has been cleared and we're ready for liftoff. thank God BTC did not go parabolic while Bitfarms was going through the motions, 90,000 soon. Yeah, I mean, with them saying now that they're going to double their hash rate in 2025, so originally there was 35 exahash, now they're looking to get to like 42 exahash. That's great news there. So we just need them to execute on their growth. Let's see. Eddie says it was pretty obvious since everyone was expecting a run up in October. The market's makers will force prices down. They're going to force it down a little bit here, right? But I think it's also healthy. You can't have everything going up, though, day after day after day after day. You need a little bit of retracement, you need a little bit of pullback as well. And I think that's a good thing. So I'm not worried about that. Let's see. The lawn services says, worried they're going to miss the bull run max potential. Who's that? I'm not sure. Are you referring to Bitfarms maybe? Let's see. Riot or Mara, which one you prefer? If I had to choose between those guys right now, based on their operations, uptime, and things like that, as of last month, we don't have the latest data on it. But as of last month, I would probably pick Mara over Riot. Okay. Do you think October BTC crossed 74,000 this week wasn't great? I mean, the week has only started. You guys are being very pessimistic here. You got to be a little bit more optimistic. We still have 4 weeks to go in October. I do think 74,000 is going to be crossed by the end of October. Oh, let's see. Ryan says, tax reason to buy mansion right quick. No, they actually have to pay that in taxes. So a lot of the guys here, not only from Cleanspark, but Mara, Riot, everybody else that does this type of thing where they get shares, will sell a portion of their shares to pay the tax reasons. So I'm perfectly fine with that. Let's see. What are the total number outstanding shares of Riot? I see different numbers in different places. I use the numbers that they provided when they reported their Q2 numbers. So if we look at that really quick, I have 303 million. I'm not sure what you're seeing out there, but that's kind of what I have them at. That's kind of what I'm using as well for them. Have they diluted since then? Possibly. I just don't know how much. It's tough to tell on it, but I'm using the numbers that they provided when they provided their Q2 numbers on it. And that's worked out pretty well. Let's see. That market stats says sold all my BB shares for a small profit in order to sell more $2 Bitfarms puts. Either I keep the premium or bring my DCA down. Nice. Okay. If ETFs have to buy BTC when they sell ETF shares, do they sell BTC when ETF shares sell? Yes, I believe that's the case. Covered this already. Riot versus Mara. There would be Mara, right? At least right now. Let's see. Do you think we'll make new lows in the miners before we bounce? I don't think so. Not on that one, no. Let's see. Brad says, damn, Zach's got 20 million in Cleanspark. Yeah, with number of shares he's got quite a bit there. Okay. Do you have concerns about Bitfarms missing their 12 exahash mid-year goal 3 months in a row when Cleanspark and IREN are exceeding goals? Not good in my view to be like Mara and underperform. Yeah, it's not a good thing, but we know why. A lot of it is based on the T21s that were from Bitmain. Those were problematic. They sent those back. They're supposed to get new ones. They should have been, well, Ben was saying that they probably will get delivered in September. They didn't. So I'm hoping that the strike with the borders, not the borders, but the ports, does not cause a much longer delay on it. But if it does, we're probably looking then in November. We're going to see probably large growth in November and December of this year. But some things are out of your control, unfortunately. LTD Lawn Services says dry powdered all out. Yeah, I'm that way sometimes as well. So I know the pain there. Okay. Let's see. IFS trades. I bought the dip yesterday, but the dips keep dipping. I know how that feels too. There have been plenty of times where I bought the dip and the dip keeps coming. So that's why you always have to be a little bit prepared. I'm not always that well prepared, but historically I've been able to at least buy like every 2 to 3 weeks. So that's always helped out. Patrick says, market is in panic about war because Israel and Iran. I don't think it won't be long term. Iran doesn't really want to have a war. Yeah. Even if there is a war, I mean, you saw what happened with Russia and Ukraine. Short-term dip, buying opportunity if you can. Let's see. Any idea why Bitfarms never talked about the carbon capture business from Stronghold? Market outlook for 2030 about 10 to 40 billion a year. I believe Ben will talk about it after the HPC AI. Ben talked about it a little bit. He was on Anthony and Bryce's channel. I believe he talked about it a little bit at that point. But yeah, I'm not sure how that's progressing for them. Time will tell. Let's see. If you were elected as U.S. president, what would you do in the first 100 days to help the country? Oh, wow. That's a good question. I can't be elected because I wasn't born here, right? I was born in Europe. But what would I do in the first 100 days? I don't know. That's a tough question. I would pick a lot of great people to help me out to do possibly great things. But I think one thing is definitely we need to do something about the ultra rich, right? They're not paying their fair share. I mean, they have so many loopholes in the way that they're doing things. They have stocks and everything else that they don't generate any revenue on paper, but they're still getting wealthier and wealthier. There's got to be something to that. We got to fix something on that. Probably lower interest rates. Well, I can't lower interest rates. That's up to the Fed. But I would probably lower taxes a little bit if I could. We have to run some numbers. I would be more data-driven than anything else. You guys know I'm data-driven here as it is right now. So I think data would be the big guiding factor for me on all the things that we would want to do in 100 days. Try to close off the border, right? That would be a big thing. And then go through all the people that have come in here, go through them like a fine-tooth comb and find out if they have any type of illegal activity in their prior countries or anything like that. If they did, out you go. What else? I think that would be it. Maybe buy some Bitcoin. Maybe, I don't know. Never thought about it in the first 100 days. So you kind of put me on a spot there a little bit. Let's see. Debt market says Thursday's payday. I'm hoping Bitfarms stays around 2 so I can sell more puts. Nice. Okay. Let's see. Chris says I see Riot passing IREN and Cleanspark this year. Next year we go after Mara. Okay. I hope it works out for you. I hope that's the case. What else are here? Let's see. Cleanspark insiders are dirtbags. They sell shares, then dilute right after. Watch what happens when the grid share swap happens in the 300 to 600 million dealership. It's not going to happen. You're going to get diluted 300 million in a quarter or a year. But the shares being sold off is because of taxes. I mean, why can't you? Some people just can't get that through their minds. Some people can also understand the 300 million shares that are being added to it are going to be diluted over the next 5 to 7 years. I don't know why people just can't wrap their heads around that. Let's see, Patrick says, Dad's market stats using home equity to buy some Bitfarms and pay equity back on Thursday. I was actually thinking about that. I was able to pull out quite a bit of home equity. I was thinking about using that to also buy some more shares. Because there is a window in the next 12 months where I believe Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners will do really well. It's like, okay, I could pay this amount per month on the home equity and then I could pay it off. So I was thinking about that too. Patrick says, come on, we had a beginning of August and September crash, but ended up in the green month. Yeah. Let's see, do you think today was a combination of the Iran missile strike and also the port strike? We got weak PMI today. The market is on the lookout for recession, appreciation, your logic and optimism. Yeah, those are all contributing factors that could possibly definitely go into Bitcoin going down. Markets were down today as well. It wasn't a good day for all the things. So, yeah. Okay. SH says it's better for Bitfarms to start showing stronger numbers for its fourth quarter because third quarter wasn't good quarter for any miners. If they delivered good September numbers, won't help the third quarter. Actually, they were up in the third quarter from their revenue. Not much, but they were up a little bit here, which is a good sign. If we look back at Bitfarms here, and we'll go down here. So let's see here. Second quarter was 41.5 million here, right? Right now I'm looking at about 42.9 million. So they're looking to be about, 1.5, 1.4 million more in revenue. So it's up a little bit, not great, but it is heading in the upward direction. So that's good news there for them at least. All right, what else do we have here? Private says, oh, you guys can see. There we go. Private says, just stopping in to say hi. All my money is already invested. Just had to focus on the big picture next 12 months and not worry about the numbers on the screen. I agree with you there. That's tough for a lot of people to do that. Not to focus on the numbers that are happening day to day. It's difficult for them to look out the next 12 months out potentially, or even, gosh, when I was buying these guys back in 2022, right? In January, numbers were going down the whole way through 2023. I just kept buying it because I just didn't know where the bottom was going to be. But I knew that in the next couple of years, what I bought at much lower prices was going to be much valued, much higher when we do go through the bull run. So it is counterintuitive, and it is very challenging to do that as well. Let's see, Amik says Chinese stocks pumping heavily even on red days. Are they leading indicators that small caps will pump? That I don't know. I don't follow stocks too closely other than the Bitcoin mining stocks, so I wouldn't know that. Stock market is trading for future. If market is pricing in war, strike, potential recession, when thing happen, the dust will be settled. Yep. Let's see here. Hey, Seb, dollar price target for IREN and Cleanspark Bitcoin touches 100,000. So that's 60% away from here. I would say at least 2 to 3, 4, 5. I would say maybe not 5x. I would say at least 2 to 4x from where they are right now on that one. Let's see. Hi, Seb, do you see Cleanspark recovering to 14 in the next 2 weeks? In the next 2 weeks might be a little tough, depending where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes up on a nice rally where we're up 15, 20, 25%. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Debt market set says I have 2,200 collateral on 2 puts and 1,500 on 2.5 puts. My DCA is currently 261. Okay, very nice. Hi, Seb. I think many of us are seeing cost of living pressures and reduced savings. I'm very bullish long term, but I do wonder where will the equity come from retail buyers for the bull market. There's always cash laying around someplace, right? And you might be surprised on that. I've been surprised on it as well in the previous cycles. It's like, where is all this money coming from? 2021, we had a great rally. 2017, we had a great rally as well. It's like, where does that all come from? And it's people just sitting on the sidelines waiting for this type of period. You see, it's a very strong drug, you could say, almost, with miners or any kind of stock going up quite a bit. Once your friends start talking about it, that something's going up 50, 100%, 200%, your eyeballs start and your brain starts thinking, okay, this might be a big thing. I'm going to start getting into it as well. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that do get into it towards the end are the, what do they call those? Exit liquidity, I guess, right? So you want to be in before everybody else is in. Let's see here. A little different than Ukraine, Russia. U.S. has troops deployed and ships intercepting. It is a little bit different, but more or less, I mean, we're supplying Ukraine with, missiles and artillery and tanks and everything else. It's more or less a proxy war anyways, between NATO and Russia right now. Where in Europe were you born? I was born in Poland, actually. Let's see. Problem is if you target the rich, they leave and jobs. No, they don't. That's just something you hear all the time. The rich do not leave. The rich will find other ways to make more money. That's just the case. If you're worth over several $1 million, several $100 million, something like that, you're going to go to China? Where else are you going to go? Where is the land of opportunity? You're not going anywhere else. No, that's BS. What else we got here? How many Bitcoin did Cleanspark mine in September? Don't know that. We are waiting for them to report their production updates possibly tomorrow. Should I go into debt to buy more IREN? I would not recommend going into debt to buy any stock at all. Only invest what you're willing to lose on Bitcoin miners in general. That's kind of the way I feel about it. Okay, let's see here. The top 1% pay 45% of all income taxes collected. It's numbers. Okay. How is it that Warren Buffett pays less than his secretary? Explain that to me. Okay. LTVs on services, no thanks on the HELOC stock buy. Y'all been listening to a lot of Michael Saylor. Yeah. In current situation, what is your priority orders for miners? My list is Cleanspark, Bitfarms, IREN right now. I still own some CORZ as well. So those are the ones I'm looking to buy more into if I can. Okay. Zipar says, agreed, that's too risky. No home equity other than for more real estate and no options either. Well, yeah. See, Cleanspark execs print shares for gains and then print shares to pay the taxes on the gains. They get this. I'm not even going to go there. I mean, you can view it the way you want to view it. They do get share-based compensation. All these companies do get. Cleanspark has been lower than like what Riot has been and Marathon has been historically. So if they're getting share-based compensation and they pay a portion of that through the shares that they have to sell, so be it. Let's see, debt market stats says my home equity valued at 650. Wow, that's really good here. SNH says, please, Seb, don't use home equity to buy any stocks. Nothing is worth more than a home with zero debt. Yeah, and I didn't do that, but I was thinking about it. But yeah, I didn't do that. Let's see. Okay, Brad A says, as the most prudent MF in the space, possibly the only one of you who's taken any profits at this stage, let me please recommend leaving your emergency funds and home equity alone. Yeah, I agree. That's why I didn't take anything out of that. Okay. Okay, let's see. Dead markets that says I invest 20% of my income every month. Wow, that's really good. Mine would be maybe 10 to 15%. I try at least. So I'm not too far behind you. Okay. Okay. What do you think of Cleanspark downtrend will continue and break $8 level to $6? I don't think that we're going that low on Cleanspark. I just don't see that, especially with the growth that they have this year. And let's take a look at Cleanspark. In the last 2 days, it's come back down quite a bit here. It's come back down to this level here, which is on the Fibonacci retracement level of 0.2236. It's pretty close to that right now. That's kind of where we bottomed out. I just do not see that happening maybe. Let's see, 4-hour chart is looking pretty good on the RSI. 1-hour chart is looking oversold here. We bounced a little bit as well. I don't know. I just don't see that right now, but I could be wrong on it. Okay. Okay, Mark says they'll take their dollars to the Caymans and Swiss banks like politicians do. Yeah. Let's see. Roger says, CORZ is such a beast, it just doesn't drop. Yeah, it doesn't drop much. It doesn't go with the flow of the other miners. See, Eddie Trent says, I agree with your stance. Rich need to pay their fair share. The top 1% owns 7% of all wealth in the U.S., while poverty rate is at 50% greedy people. I don't think that they're greedy. I think it's just the system is the way the system is. So if the system allows you to do that, why not take advantage of it? Whether you're rich or if you're poor, if you have a means of doing something like that, you're going to take advantage of it. The system just needs to be, I think, tweaked a little bit. I think it's a little lopsided right now. Okay. Let's see. A rally on the BTC and mining stocks starting after the election. I don't think it's going to be until after the election. The election is 35 days away. That's in November. I think we're going to see still a really good October. Unless this is a different cycle, then we might see a different October. But based on where things are looking, I think going to be much better. Let's see here. SNH says, you and Netanyahu were born in Poland. Hopefully you are not related. No, I don't think so. But how can he be born in Poland? And isn't he the, what do they call him? The prime minister, president, whatever it is in Israel? How can he be that? Unless they have different laws there. Maybe they have different laws there. Okay. See, it seems like $10 per Bitfarms share is impossible this cycle. How many percentage you think it can happen? How many percentage do you think it can happen and when? I think the cycle. I think we will be above $10 for Bitfarms. Their growth here, 21 exahash this year, 42 exahash already talking about 42 exahash next year. That's really good growth. That's going to be keeping up with the top miners. So Cleanspark's getting to 50 exahash next year sometime, possibly more than that. Marathon, same thing, is getting to 50 exahash this year. Riot's targeting, 37 exahash this year, and then possibly more next year as well. IREN's already planning 30 exahash and possibly 40 exahash next year as well. So they're in good company. That's like the 5 miners here. The top 5 miners are going to be 40 exahash above. So I would just say, I think it's a pretty good chance. LTD Lawn Services says 96,000. I started DCing out. Okay, so you're a little bit ahead of me. I mean, might not be a bad idea to do it at 96. 100,000. A lot of people are looking at 100,000. Let's see. Warren Buffett's salary is 100,000 a year. Yeah, his salary is a year. What about all his shares and everything else that he makes on it? I mean, he's worth probably billions of dollars. It's kind of like the same thing with what is it, Elon Musk, right? He's worth 200 some odd $billion, whatever it might be. And he makes, on paper, he could put down that he makes $50,000 a year. So he gets taxed on that, but he's worth all that. There has to be, I think, a change in it. Okay. Roger says, I have a rental property that I was considering just selling outright and putting all in MicroStrategy, hodl forever, and Sailor we trust. I wouldn't hodl forever, but I think in the peak cycles, or if you got in right now and you hold on for the next 12 months, I think that would be great. You probably could do pretty well, probably 2 to 5x on it, if not higher. Okay. In current situation, would you trade live cheap to buy more? I'm not sure I understand the question there. What are your thoughts on Bit Digital? I like the company. I like Sam there as well. I think he's done a great job with the company. They're asset light. I keep saying that they're asset light because they don't own any infrastructure or any data centers or anything like that. They are right now undervalued in my opinion. Maybe once they start buying some infrastructure, some data centers, maybe at that point they get valued. But I'd like to see them grow some more with their own Bitcoin mining, but they're not right now as well. They said that originally they were planning to get to 6 exahash by the end of the year. Right now it's kind of been quiet on the front there. So it looks like there might be around the 2.5, wherever they're at right now, 3 exahash, and not much growth going forward. I think they're pivoting more so towards the, not exahash, but the HPCI business play. Right, they've gotten 2 good customers there right now. Well, one really good customer, one that has potential to get to quite a bit of money as well for them, revenue. But we just need to see more growth, I think, in that regard. And that's why I can't really invest in them right now. I'm not too sold on the HPCI business thing. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just saying it's a different kind of a beast altogether. Okay, let's see. Brad says, yeah, CORZ is king, such a beast. If only Chris Temner was a CORZ bull, he would be my sidekick. Okay. Yeah, CORZ is a different deal altogether, right? 12 years, a couple $1 billion. It's a different deal. Okay. And what would be a good decision to buy Wolf or Cleanspark for at least a year-long period? Wolf is questionable because there's a lot of hype around HPCI with them as well. Cleanspark, you know where they're going. You know what their hash rate growth is. You know what their targets are. You know a lot more with them. With Wolf, like I said, it's questionable. We don't know what kind of HPC deal they get. And they haven't made any comments or posts on them growing any further from this year, what their plans were to next year. So I just don't know. They might be transitioning over to HPCI as well. I just don't know on that one. That's why I'm going with Cleanspark. Okay. Let's see. Song W says, here's something concerning Seb regarding Cleanspark. I read yesterday that Cleanspark for the last 3 months, the insiders have been selling. None of them bought a single share in the last 3 months. They're not the only ones. Many other companies, I think the only one company that has been buying shares has been CORZ. Everybody else in the space has not been buying. Cleanspark has been selling because of they're getting share-based compensation. And when they do get that, they have to sell a portion of it to pay the taxes, unfortunately. So that's kind of what you're seeing there. M says, IREN did a pretty good job increasing. They did a fantastic job there. Bitfarms is moving a little bit slower rate, yes. But we know why. The T21s were supposed to be in. They are not in, I guess. So it's pushing him back a little bit as well on that. Let's see, do you find it concerning as well? Well, I just can explain it to you why they're selling shares because of share-based compensation there. Okay, let's see. It is being sold quickly. That is what makes me worried, but Wolf holds tight. Are you talking about the share-based compensation there, maybe? I'm not sure. Okay. Let's see. Last year, Warren Buffett paid $5 billion in taxes, and that was basically because he sold some shares, probably in some stuff. So that's where he paid the taxes on it. And that's not him; it's probably his corporation at that point. Okay. Let's see. When do you think we will hit 70,000 for BTC? I think actually this month. I still think that's the case. Let's see. CORZ my biggest win, 225% currently. Sold my original entry fee and added today. Growth on top of growth, please. Nice. Very nice. Okay. Mark says Netanyahu was born in Tel Aviv, Israel. Okay. So that makes more sense. Thoughts on Supermicro? They completed 10-to-1 split while only being at 235 billion market cap. Supermicro has been providing some of the servers for the HPC AI plays, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there. So they were from $23.50 down to, I don't know, why would they do that? $23.50, that's not, I mean, do they have a lot of shares outstanding? Maybe that's the reason why. That could be the only thing I can think of. See, Ed says, LOL, 70% of Israeli settlers are born outside Palestine. Netanyahu is not his real name. I'm not up to date with what's going on in Israel, guys, to be honest. It's just unfortunate there's a war going on right now. People on both sides are dying. Why? I just don't understand it. Let's see, what is your price prediction for Cleanspark end of cycle? I still think it's somewhere between $60 and $70. My original target was around $70, but with the dilution that we've seen here recently, I'm dropped that down a little bit here to $60, $70. But we've seen also more hash rate growth. Okay. Let's see. Miners can rally 20% in a day, also can drop 20% in a day. They are what they are. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. HODL is for fools. I don't know if I agree with that. I would actually disagree with that. Some people don't have the time. I don't have the time to day trade everything that's going on. I got other things going on. I got work. I got kids. I got, sports with the boys, everything else. For me, HODL and just dollar cost averaging into the miners because I believe they're going to do much better long term. So far, it's working out for me, right? I may not be. Also, remember that about, 95% or higher of day traders will actually end up losing money in the long run. LED Lawn Services says the rich live off loans against their wealth, which isn't taxable income. Yeah, that's also true. Ed says, I just joined Seb. I'm very disappointed in Bitfarms' September release. Yeah, I was disappointed too. I wish they would have actually commented on why the T21s have not arrived yet. They kind of skipped over that, but I'm guessing they're in shipment, they're in transit, whatever it might be. So we'll see what happens in October. Do you think it's possible for Bitfarms to go to 21x by the end of the year? That's a lot considering they haven't moved. Yeah, I still do. I have pretty good faith in Ben so far. With them, he came out right away saying that the T21s were an issue. They're getting those replaced. So I still have a lot of trust in what he says, a lot of faith maybe even in what he says going forward. So I do think if they're saying that they're still going to reach 21 exahash by the end of the year, I still think that's the case. See, how much does Sam pay the Bitcoin mining stock Twink to promote his failing business? Zero. I know BTC stock mining guy. I don't think he would take anything from these guys. I think he's just bullish on HPC going forward. And him and I disagree a little bit there on that aspect of it, but I can see why he would think that HPC AI is going to be very beneficial going forward. I'm a little bit more skeptical than he is. And maybe that's a fault of my own. Maybe I could be wrong on this where he is right. Time will tell. Let's see. Question, with 21 exahash or 21 watts per terahash, will Bitfarms beat on earnings? What were the earnings? I know they're going to be up in revenue from Q2 a little bit by about 1.4 million or so. So I'm not sure. Let's see. M says, we are cooked when you think about how many shares CEOs have. They own millions, and we gamble on a few shares. That's some of the perks that come with being a CEO. That's for any company, unfortunately. Elon Musk, one of the world's wealthiest individuals, right? It's all in shares. That's where they make their money. But they also put in a lot of hours. They do a lot of things. So it is what it is. Let's see. Private says, let's pray for peace and prosperity and leave political stuff out of these comments. Yeah, I agree. Right? I want everybody to be free and live peacefully with their neighbors and everything else. If we only have this one life, it's tragic the things that we're seeing, not only in Israel and IREN but Palestine, all those things, and Russia and Ukraine as well. That's tragic. That's hundreds of thousands of people being either killed or injured, whatnot, and for what? For people that are in power for too long. It seems like it's just crazy, or their different beliefs and different. I can't understand it. But it is what it is. We live in a weird time, I guess. Okay, let's see. Seb, BTC at 74,000 at the end of October. We will hold you to that. Okay, hold me to that. I believe we're going to be above that. We're not too far off. And if Bitcoin does what it's historically done in October, we should be there. If it doesn't, like I said before, this will be a different cycle if we don't get at least above there. Okay. Somebody says, sorry, so what I meant, how can you not be buying your own shares if you believe the company is in the right trajectory, especially if you want votes for more shares, dilution for growth? Yeah, I mean, I understand that. And yes, you would normally want to see that. But how many companies actually do that where the C-suite actually start, buying shares? You're seeing it with CORZ. So CORZ was way under from where it's at. I think it's probably still way under from where it really will be in the next 12 months. So they're seeing that, and they're maybe trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Project that onto the market maybe as well, which I think would be a good idea. If Cleanspark and IREN and everybody else was starting to maybe buy a little shares, buy 1,000 shares, they don't have to buy a lot. They can just buy a little bit, but I think that would be. But the big thing is also that they have certain time windows when they can actually buy. But that doesn't. But then why is CORZ being able to buy as well? So, yeah, I think if they buy 500 shares, 1,000 shares, whatever it might be, they have got a lot more shares than that, anyways. But if they buy a little bit more, I think it shows them a little bit more confidence in the company as well going forward. So I'm with you on that. I agree. David says, sorry, the idea of never sell is for fools. Yeah. Sometimes you have to learn the hard way, though. Right? Sometimes you got to hold your bags, round trip them in order to learn. I've had to do that. So I'll be the first one to admit that. You got to learn on some of your mistakes, unfortunately. Let's see. Coin, Cleanspark, Farm. Bitfarms, I'm guessing you're saying, or Riot, your best choice. It would be between Cleanspark and Bitfarms, I guess you could say. At that point, Bitfarms, based on the growth, I would just go with the growth. I think still Bitfarms is way undervalued from where it should be. But take that away. Because there's reasons for that. Riot, right? Hostile takeover, things like that. So for that reason, I would have to go probably with Cleanspark at that point. Let's see how much Bitcoin IREN mine in September. Thoughts? We'll find out. It should be. Where was Bitcoin ended? Let's see. They said, I think I have the numbers here for them roughly. Let me see, IREN screen. Let's see how close we can get to that. We'll make a little estimate here. If they operated, I don't have the numbers for the transaction fees in here, so that's going to be off. They did install quite a bit of hash rate here. I'm looking at about 23 million, roughly. So 23 million divided by, what was Bitcoin at the end of the month? Around 60,000, something like that. What did I set it at? 60,000. Oh, let's take a look. 60,358. So IREN was at, I have him right now, rough estimate, 23.3 million. Where does that get us to? 23, clear that, 23,350,000 divided by 60,350 roughly. 386 BTC, roughly right around there, somewhere. What did they generate last month? Last month they generated 245. So that would be a sizable increase if they were able to do that, roughly, right? That's rough estimate right there. If they were operating for 20 days on the 20 exahash, and they actually said that they were higher than that, right? I think no, they reached 20 exahash by the like last week or something like that. So at 20 days, if they were operating on that one, that would get us to 386 Bitcoin roughly. And if they were operating in 28 days out of the month, roughly. So it should be a much better month for them going forward, or at least September should be a really good month for them. Okay. Bitfarms and Riot Tango is so not over, and these two will suffer the most and will be the lowest traded this session because of this. You could be right on that, and I've said it before. That whole situation going on with the Riot trying to buy them out and everything else is not only contributing to Riot being valued lower because of it, but also Bitfarms. So you could be right there. Let's see. How come you don't buy more CORZ? CORZ ran away from me a little bit. And that's the hard part right there. Number one, I don't know where their hash rate is going to grow. I know they're supposed to get about 15 exahash from block and miners, but I don't know when that's going to happen. We do know that their HPCI business is going to start generating revenue sometime in the first half of 2025. I just don't know exactly when. So there's more unknowns that I have with CORZ than I do with some of the other guys. So that's why I haven't been really buying more of it. Okay. What percent of Bitcoin miners shareholders do better than day traders? Oh gosh, I have no idea. Let's see. So if we hit 75,000 this month, where do you see Bitfarms at? Oh gosh, probably around $3-4 at that point, maybe. Low threes, maybe somewhere around there. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Em says, damn, I keep getting notifications. Some alts dropped 15%. Who said it's easy to make money in the market? Our money just dropped 60, 70, 80% first, and then we hope that someday it changes. Yeah, it's tough. Okay. I have a feeling Bitfarms will do a separate company for HPCI and a third company for carbon capture. Shareholders should get some of the shares of the new companies. That's interesting. That's an interesting take, actually, on that one. Let's see. CORZ is the only one that makes sense at this point, with CoreWeave going public next year and is already valued at $19 billion. They will either buy CORZ or build them up with even higher infrastructure deals. I don't think they're going to buy them out. They tried to buy them out already earlier this summer. CORZ said no, but they also probably offered maybe a little too little on that one. Let's see. Roger says also a lot of tension with China and their neighbors. Yeah. I don't know what is it with that side of the world going on over there. It's like too many tensions going on. People need to relax. Maybe people need to maybe puff more weed, maybe. They'd be a little bit more chill, I think. I don't do that, but I know people that do that to get more relaxed, things like that. Let's see. Mark says, try starting your own BTC mining company and see how you do. Level comments from a bitter amateur gamblers again today. Invest in indices and have adults manage your dollars. Yeah. Mark, I can completely agree with you there. It is very, very tough. If you don't have backing of the markets where you have shares and everything else, it is very tough if you're going private in the private route. And that's kind of what we're seeing with Cleanspark buying up some of these private miners because it's tough. I know how it is. I've managed a small mining farm for 5 years. It is not easy. Let's see. What are your CORZ targets for this bull run? Again, that's a tough one. When do they get to 15 exahash of the new machines? When do they start generating revenue for the HPCI business for CoreWeave? Those all things have to go into consideration there. I just don't know. That's a tough one. At least right now. Do you think the miners will bounce green tomorrow? I do think so. I think if Bitcoin goes up, I think the miners will bounce as well. Ryan says a lot of fraud in these miners, potentially. Yeah, but there's some good actors here as well. What else here? Try to find some more questions, and it's like, oh, you guys are talking about market crash. LTD Services says, I think Mara should add some stock buyback to the holdings. I don't know. I mean, if you're not growing, the big thing is for these guys to still continue to grow, right? So they're going to be growing their hash rate and everything else. For companies that aren't growing, but they're just generating more revenue because of price increases or things like that, then you probably should be buying stocks back. But I don't think the miners should be buying stocks right now. Their own stocks back. Wow, I can't talk. What else we got here? Okay. See, Andrew says, I wasn't planning on selling anything yet, so I am okay with a dip. We'll buy some more shares if we dip further. Yeah, that's the right way to look at it. If you had to pick one miner which is less fraudulent, oh gosh, I could pick a couple of these guys. I think IREN, Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Cypher, Wolf is a little questionable for me there a little bit, with all the ties from the CEOs, companies, and everything else. I would say probably even Wolf. But then you get Hive. I think Hive has done a fantastic job here as well. Hut 8 right now seems like it's doing pretty well. I mean, there's a couple companies. I mean, they're not fraudulent. Yes, they're making a bunch of money. The big thing is share-based compensation. A lot of these guys are making way too much on that, or putting too much into share-based compensation. Let's see. Andrew says, I expect the port workers to be resolved as ASAP, considering it's a computable issue for the current administration and the election is coming up very soon. It might be. Yeah, you might be right there. It's the IREN with 30x hash with being 15 not 15 terahash, 15 joules per terahash. And in BTC possibly going 80, 90, they are making crazy cash flows and their GPUs, new ones coming in. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Let's see here. If Trump gets in and somehow stops Russia-Ukraine war, that will drive Europe up and will create a huge market with many people getting money to invest because of the war. There is no real bull market. No, I don't think that's going to happen. Even if Trump isn't going to be able to stop the war there, because you got the European countries have a vested interest in Russia not actually getting part of Ukraine. Because if you provide that, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm drawing a blank here on the word. If you provide the precedent with Russia being able to threaten its neighbors and, use its nuclear arsenal as a threatening tactic to take over land, well, where does it actually end, right? If Russia's able to do that, they'll regroup in the next 5-10 years, and they'll do the same thing in other countries. They've already done it in Georgia. They've done it in other countries. You can't let a bully get away with this stuff. You got to smack him down and teach him a lesson. So I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see. Eddie, is IREN good? Heard it's better. IREN is great. Okay. Where do you think Cypher is when Bitcoin's at 100,000? That's also tough. They have more growth here going into next year, into 2025, especially towards like the middle to later on into 25. So that's tough to see where they could possibly be at 100,000. Right now, Bitcoin goes up 100,000 or up to 100,000. You're looking at possibly 3 to like maybe 4x from where it's at right now. Maybe 2 to 3. I would say 2 to 4x, somewhere between there. He says, Ryan, I'm heavily invested in IREN. I believe they are the best miner, but you have to do your own due diligence. Yeah, I think they're also one of the best ones. That's why I have them. See, Seb support weed. Confirmed everyone buys weed stocks after this cycle. Yeah. I've never tried weed before. I've had friends that did it, but for whatever reasons, drugs or anything like that were never a thing for me. It was cigarettes, I'll be honest with you guys, and then like beer was never a thing for me either, but like vodka and alcohol, things like that. Those are kind of my vices as I got older, but nothing before that. Okay. Hard Knock says Cleanspark, Riot, Bar, IREN. I see being multi-baggers from here. Patience. Yeah. You gotta have patience. Buy the dips if you can and be patient. Okay. Andrew says, I have family and military in Canada, and I asked them their personal opinion of the conflicts globally, and it's their opinion that it's World War III right now, but the media is not calling it how it is. It's not World War III right now. I don't agree with that. World War III, we would see Canada, United States, sending our own troops there to fight in it. These are proxies right now. It's not World War III. Okay. Who, if any, miners will be profitable in Q3? I would expect possibly IREN, Cleanspark, Marathon, possibly. And we also had the Bitcoin price go up from Q2 to Q3 at the end of Q3. So that means Cleanspark, Marathon, Riot, I think, might be also positive. A lot of the miners might be positive, actually, because of Bitcoin price and the FASB rules with Bitcoin HODL and everything else going into effect there. Let's see. Ed says, Seb, I bought SUI altcoin just for 2 months ago. Believe it or not, it's the best performing investment in my list so far. Yeah, I mean, it can happen. Wait another couple, 3 months, and you might be down 300% on it. So that's the tricky part there. Okay. See, he says Equinox signed a $15 billion deal data center. The demand is there. It's just who you partner with, especially with IREN. That's why they hired Morgan Stanley. Yeah, who did Equinox sign a $15 billion deal center for? Right, none of the miners. Okay. Let's see. Ryan says, man, if they could land a hyperscaler, it's lights out for the competition. Yeah, what kind of deal would that be, though? Would it be a buyout of a site? None of these hyperscalers are going to go to bed with the miners. I just don't see that happening, guys. Unfortunately, I just don't. Hyperscalers want to have full control of their operations, and them partnering with a miner, no. They'll buy them out. They have the cash to do it. It would be, a drop in a bucket for them. See, Hard Knock says Bitcoin's rebounding. Yeah, Bitcoin's rebounding a little bit here. Where's it at? It's up $870, up 1.43%, so it's doing pretty good. Okay. Trying to find if there's any more questions. Let's see, Ryan says, I heard IREN wants to be big in AI, which is smart, I think. Yeah, but depending how you do it. If you're going at it alone and you're trying to build out the HPC infrastructure with the servers, everything else in there, that's going to be costly. And they just don't have the capital to do it right now. So you really need another core weave, which I don't know we're going to get, another core weave to partner with somebody else. Or you need a hyperscaler to buy one of your sites out at that point. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it. I could be wrong on this, completely wrong, but kind of my thinking on it at least. Let's see. Roger says, best outcome for Ukraine is for Ukraine to put up enough fight for Putin to come to the table and negotiate. That, or if you have the oligarchs there get kind of frustrated with the current administration and make changes. We've seen that before happen. So that could be one thing as well. It's just, I'm not going to get into it, but I have my viewpoints on it. Everybody has their own viewpoints on it. But yeah, we shouldn't let, I feel bad for the people of Russia because they are governed by basically a dictator there. So I feel bad for them. They don't have any free speech. They can't go and protest at the war or anything like that. And I wish for everybody in the world to have free speech, being able to protest when you do not agree with your government. Just have basic human freedoms, I think. And so I do feel for the people in Russia. Could they have a little bit of a blame in this? Yes, they partially allowed this to happen. But when you're ruled by an iron fist, it's tough to stand up against it. So it might be actually the oligarchs to make a change there. We'll see. Okay. see. Eddie says, simply don't try weed. It's addictive and it makes you lazy and unmotivated. Maybe that's why I never tried it before. But yeah, I had friends that did it in high school. They asked me if I wanted to do it. I'm like, no, I got my cigarettes at that point. I was happy with that. But I just never had a need for any kind of drug or anything like that. I know it's natural and things like that. So that's at least a good sign of that one. Whereas everything else is man-made, engineered, whatever, but like cocaine and everything else. Never would touch that stuff. Okay. What miner is the most undervalued right now? I think it's actually Riot and like Bitfarms combined. Well, those two are probably like the most undervalued as it is. Let's see here. Seb, you should consider NATO aggression and expansion before judging the Russia-Ukraine. Okay. As being born in Poland and being under the thumb of Russia before, I will admittedly deny that, because it is up to the country of their choosing to join NATO. It is not that NATO goes knocking on the door saying, hey, we want you to be in NATO. It's the actual country that has to do a lot of things in order to become a NATO member. And then all the NATO countries that are already in it have to basically sign off. Their legislator, presidents, everything else has to sign off on them being accepted into NATO. So it's not just a big open check to anybody that wants to join. No, there's things you have to do in order to join NATO. And NATO has always been a defensive force. Has NATO attacked anybody in the past? Right? Not that I'm aware of for all these years. So, you can see also that, what is it? Not Hungary. What's the country? Norway, Sweden joined NATO, right? Why did they join? They've been historically neutral on these things, but they're seeing what Russia is doing. They're like, well, we're not in NATO. We're going to be next, possibly. So the reason, because of the aggressions by Russia itself, is the reason why countries are joining NATO. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay. Ryan says, a friend of mine has 7 figures in IREN. Wow. That is a lot. Okay. LD says 10-1 Russia keeps the territory just as they previously Crimea, Kiev, and previously Georgia. Yeah, I mean, they have a track record of doing that. That's why you got to stand up to them. They're going to just keep taking territory. Okay. Ryan says, but he's actually a wealthy and successful investor, so I'm researching. He says this is a crazy price to get in. I would agree. Okay. Let's see. NATO advancing towards Russia is the threat. Western Ukraine has always been Russian loyal. Putin wants them to remain with Russia. The port in southern Ukraine will remain Russia and Navy control. Maybe. I don't know the geopolitics there, but, there's things that are going on. People want not only Russia, or not only Ukraine, but I believe Georgia. The people in Georgia also want to be part of Europe, part of NATO. And anytime Russia senses that kind of thing, they throw in some proxy war into things to put a boot on somebody. I think you have to live in those countries. If you ever lived during communism or anything like that, you know how bad it can actually get. If you did live through that, you would be you'd be possibly one of the first people that would want to put a gun to Putin's head, or anybody that's a dictator that wants to control you because of communism or some things like that. So you got to look at it that way as well. People want freedom, and Russia does not offer that kind of freedom. Let's see here. Gary Pout says, I believe FSB only up for 62 to 63,000. Won't be a big difference the last quarter when Mara and Cleanspark both lost. Yeah, but at least they'll be up. They won't be down, right? Let's see. Question, if you think Cleanspark will get to $67 these next 12 months, what do you think Bitfarms will get to? Depending where Bitfarms gets to with their hash rate growth, I'm thinking between $15 and $20, but if they grow their hash rate more than 35 exahash relatively quickly in the first half of the year, then we could possibly see them going beyond $20 per share. Let's see. Just turned in, why is Bitfarms stuck at 13 or 11.3 exahash? Why cannot they progress? Do you think they can still reach 21? Yes. Ben has said that they are still on track to reach 21 exahash. I think it's the T21s that have not arrived yet that they're supposed to get. That's the main reason why. Let's see. Roger says Finland is now NATO. Russia didn't invade Finland yet. well, yeah, that's why they're in NATO right now, because Russia's not going to invade them now. But even before, right, they had the Winter War, whatever it was, in Finland or something like that. This was going back probably, 70, 80 years. And they've been kind of neutral because of that. But what they saw what happening with Ukraine, it's, you need the backing of Europe and NATO and U.S. in order to keep Russia at bay. Because otherwise, Russia's just going to, Russia's just a big bully right now. At least the government there is. Okay. Have you considered the Minsk agreement vote of the people from Donbass and the Donbass people killed by Ukrainian government? But yeah, there's so much more going into this. I'm not going to debate you here on it. You have your own viewpoints, which is fine. But there's just so much more into it that you really need to dive deep into it in order to understand. Roger says, Russia has always been imperialistic. Yeah, which is unfortunate, right? They should get along with their neighbors. Let their neighbors just choose their own path. If they want to go with the path of democracy and freedom and being more towards the European Union or whatnot, let them choose it. Right? Look, Russia has nuclear weapons. Nobody's going to invade Russia. I don't know what they are so afraid of. That's just crazy to me. Let's see. Impossible to buybacks while ATM offerings, right? That I don't know. Okay. I really think Riot could make biggest percentage move in the next coming months. That is also possible. Nilo VCam says, until the Ukraine-Russia war is over, there will be no real bull run. Now, we've already seen that bull run. That doesn't make any impact on it. None of the wars do. But yeah, I think I've pretty much caught up to you guys here. Let's see here. I have a couple more coming in through right now. No more politics from on here. I promise you have fans from different backgrounds and opinions, so let's stick with BTC mining. I agree, yeah. I mean, you guys have any questions. I try to be honest with you guys. I've lived in communism. I've lived in the shadows. My dad had to run away from it because, well, I'm not going to get into it, but he had to run away to Austria, seek political asylum. He had to then, get asylum from either Canada, United States, or like South Africa. Luckily, he got it from America here, so I'm forever grateful to the country. And I will always love this country because of that. And it has definitely improved not only my dad's lives, my mom's lives, but also my sister's lives. So I am forever grateful in that regard. Okay. Let's see. Roger says, I agree. My parents in communist China, people just don't know in the West here. Yeah. It's one thing to hear about it, and then you only hear different points of views and things like that, unless you actually live through it. China's a little bit different, though. China's kind of a hybrid, I think. But it's still, you really don't have any freedoms for the most part. You're watched, you're, tracked all the time. You have social credits, I guess, and all that stuff. It's just crazy on that. So I will be defending the liberties of everybody and the freedoms of everybody for as long as I can, as long as I live. So Roger says, yeah, China's better now, but parents left in the 80s. Yeah, same thing for my dad, right? My dad left in the 80s as well. I didn't see him for 2 years from when he left. That was tough on me. That was tough on my mom and my sister as well. But the good thing of it was he was able to send packages to us, which then we had fruits and candy for like holidays and things like that. I had toys that nobody else had because he was able to send from the United States. So there were some good things, but it was rough on me. Yeah. Let's see. Don't you think Bitcoin mining will become obsolete? No, not in the next 100 years, possibly. Even more than that, I think, actually. Let's see, Roger says, happy for you now. Yeah, I'm happy for you too as well, for your parents and everybody else that was able to escape communism. You see the light of day when you do that, and you're able to do that. It is night and day between communism and actual democracies and things like that, where you have freedoms for the most part. Yes, you can't go around doing certain things, but for the most part, you're free to go about your way. And America has been the beacon of it, and America should stand to be the beacon of it going forward as well. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. We've come to all you guys' questions here, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Let's see where's Bitcoin's at right now. Bitcoin is right now at $800 in the plus side, up 1.33%, so it's looking pretty good here. We'll see where we get tomorrow. I think if Bitcoin's in the green tomorrow, I think it might as well be in the green as well, which will be good. We should get some more miners reporting tomorrow as well, which will be good. I'm guessing Cleanspark, maybe IREN, and we'll see who else reports tomorrow on that one. But we'll see. We'll cover it all tomorrow. We'll talk to you guys then. But other than that, thanks so much for coming in. Greatly appreciate you guys. Love you all. I wish you guys all a great Wednesday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right.